Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, obviously it was only a matter of time until this corporate pandering started to backfire. Now, in certain spaces it never will, but in others it clearly will. You know, far-left tech firms in San Francisco putting rainbows all over the office, all over social media during Pride Month. Nobody's really going to bat an eye, and most people who work for those companies will simply support the current thing and cheer it on. But in the world of athletics, a world that is quite literally driven by testosterone in professional sports leagues, obviously it wasn't going to work. At some point, the athletes, and of course the fans, were going to say enough is enough. We've had enough of this empty pandering. It has nothing to do with bigotry and everything to do with personal choice and how people want to be represented, or what they feel is authentic and what they feel is an empty, nonsense pander campaign using them as the medium. In the past, all these sports leagues slapping rainbows and political imagery everywhere was memed about online, and then people simply moved away from it. This year, however, it's not going so smoothly, as these woke progressives who have totally taken over the corporate world continue to push the messaging further and further, continue to move to the extreme. Well, it was only inevitable that you'd start to see a pushback, and a pushback is exactly what we're seeing. We're continuing with the MLB today, where things continue to get heated. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, we got a lot of headlines to get through, so let's just try to blast through these real quick. Here's the first story. MLB quietly removes Pride logo from socials. MLB may have sensed a change in the political winds. Like the vast majority of modern corporations, Major League Baseball is usually eager to shore up its progressive credentials. As they do most years, Major League Baseball changed its logo on June 1st to celebrate Pride Month, with the current version of the LGBTQ flag as the background. But after just one day up on the league's social media accounts, it quietly disappeared, instead replaced by the traditional MLB logo after just a day up on Facebook and Twitter. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to why this is the case, but we all know the reason. It's to avoid further controversy. There have been so many different situations at this point, players speaking out at different baseball organizations. Here's Blake Treinen releasing a public statement in response to the LA Dodgers grouping up with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. He writes, "I am disappointed to see the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence being honored as heroes at Dodger Stadium. Many of their performances are blasphemous, and their work only displays hate and mockery of Catholics and the Christian faith. I understand that playing baseball is a privilege and not a right. My convictions in Jesus Christ will always come first. Since I have been with the Dodgers, they have been at the forefront of supporting a wide variety of groups. However, inviting the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to perform disenfranchises a large community and promotes hate of Christians and people of faith. This single event alienates the fans and supporters of the Dodgers, Major League Baseball, and professional sports. People like baseball for its entertainment value and competition. The fans do not want propaganda or politics forced on them. The debacle with Bud Light and Target should be a warning to companies and professional sports to stay true to their brand and leave the propaganda and politics off the field. I believe Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins. I believe the word of God is true, and in Galatians 6:7, it says, 'Do not be deceived, God cannot be mocked, a man reaps what he sows.' This group openly mocks Jesus Christ, the cornerstone of my faith, and I want to make it clear that I do not agree nor support the decision of the Dodgers to honor the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Another public statement released by a professional player, I'd say well said, and I agree with pretty much every single word. It's simply unacceptable to be teaming up and honoring a group that is legitimately hateful to a particular religion or faith, but all the leftoids and all the activists don't want to address that fact. No, of course not. They responded with nonsense like this. Blake Treinen issues response to Dodgers Pride Night littered with syntax errors. I don't know, it was written pretty well. Maybe some syntax errors, but who cares? What a bunch of goofs. San Francisco Gate a couple years ago wrote this. Former A's, current Dodgers pitcher Blake Treinen posts conspiracies about current topics. Dodgers reliever Blake Treinen links to the My Pillow guy, Project Veritas, and a far-right missionary. And so, of course, the gaslighting campaign continues. But at this point, the player speaking out to the overt political pandering continues to stack. We also have Clayton Kershaw saying that he disagrees with Dodgers' decision to honor anti-Catholic drag group. The pressure continues to mount. It's no longer just from the fans, but rather coming from within at this point, from the players themselves. And so clearly the MLB, to a certain extent, is getting cold feet. And what do you expect? This is what happens when you take something too far. Again, let's go back to almost a decade ago. The whole thing was basic acceptance, live and let live. That was kind of the cultural standard. I feel like in the early 2000s, we were at a pretty good point. There was basic acceptance, do whatever you want, live your life, it doesn't affect me, everyone has the same rights. Then towards the end portion of the Obama administration, they even went as far as legalizing gay marriage. And so you literally have everything that you could possibly want, but now we've reached a point where it's gone completely beyond basic rights and acceptance of this particular group. What we're seeing is mandated genuflecting. You must take a knee. For the entire month of June, you must wear the logo. You must fight for our causes. Still, I don't even get what the causes are. You must introduce these topics to your children. You must bend down before us and revere us. And it's gone from the month of June. Now people are talking about a whole season. It's just getting too much. These guys are just trying to play baseball, but they're being forced to push social messages, to wear certain symbolism, whether or not they disagree with it. Do it or else is essentially the current situation for these players. We saw the whole thing with the Tampa Bay Rays last year, players refusing to wear a patch. We saw the same thing this year with National Hockey League players, again, refusing to wear jerseys with particular symbolism, and I simply don't blame them. If you don't want to, you shouldn't have to, especially when what it really is cheap corporate pandering. Everybody can see it. I mean, it's not a damn mystery. It's just kind of the current thing, and every single company, the way these marketing agencies, these HR departments, and these major corporations work, there's sort of like a thing, like whatever the current trend is, and they all follow the same thing like bots. This is the current thing, and it's simply going too far. I don't blame the players for feeling frustrated. It also goes beyond just the empty pandering, which, by the way, even the left can see this as empty pandering. Even they have an issue with it. But it's gone too far when we're talking about a whole season dedicated to this one group. That it's gone too far when corporations are pushing adult sexual topics on children, like Target and Bud Light. That it's gone too far when it's completely infiltrated the education system at a very young age to indoctrinate young grade school children. And so no wonder, the pressure has become so great that eventually the whole lid's gonna blow off. That's exactly what's going on here. There's more going on in the world right now than celebrating a sexual identity. There's some actual real important issues, yet this seems to take precedence not only in June, but pretty much throughout the entire year. All groups in America have equal rights. It's already a thing. All this social activism, at least from my perspective, doesn't even really have a coherent goal, a social goal that they're protesting for. It's nothing but cultural adherence. It's like an influence and power thing. And people are simply fed up with this activism constantly being shoved in their face, not just for a single month, but for the entire year, non-stop. It's become a cult. Let's be real. And I think the whole thing is crossing a line. In these delicate social movements, the last thing that you want to do is overstay your welcome or push things too far. Once you've accomplished your goal, it's probably time to accept that things are better and just move on. But in the world of leftist activism, of course, the grift must continue. Eventually, it's gonna freaking backfire. And I think that's what we're seeing. That's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one.